Well, good morning, welcome back. Now today I want to fit an air filter in this Honda CB1300. This is how you do it. Now with an air filter, according to the service schedule, it says change the filter between 15,000 and 30,000 kilometres or a year, whichever comes sooner. Now there aren't many of us that do 30,000 kilometres a year, but certainly it's worth doing an air filter once a year, I would say, because they're just cheap to buy and they do make a difference to performance. As we all know, air filters are there to filter out particles that would otherwise get dragged into your engine and cause damage, and as it does that, it gets blocked up. And the more and more your air filter gets blocked up, then naturally the fuel injection understands that and it reduces the amount of fuel to maintain the correct air to fuel ratio. And that means you've got less air, less fuel going into your engine. So as your air filter goes through its service life, the power delivery of your engine is going to reduce very, very slightly over time. So it's definitely worth changing if you want to maintain all the power that you want from your engine. If you recall, when I bought this bike and put it on the lift for the first time, I did a survey walk round, checking all the jobs I needed to do. And one of them was that I mentioned that the oil had been overfilled when I bought the bike. I went to check the oil level and I found that all I could see was solid oil. I couldn't see the top of the level. So I leant it away from myself to see where the level was, and actually it was on the side stand. Somebody had filled the oil level up correct, but on the side stand, and that's not right. It should be upright. So it had a litre too much oil in it, and putting that much extra oil in an engine that it doesn't need, that has a hugely detrimental effect, potentially to your air filter. And I'm sure we all know that when an engine runs, it produces unwanted internal pressure, and that pressure must be vented out of the engine, otherwise it starts to blow gaskets. And the main vent in question is from the rocker cover up here where the cams are. And the rocker cover breather hose vents straight into the airbox, because obviously we don't want those fumes going to atmosphere, so they are reburned through the engine a second time and out through the exhaust, just standard emission control. So the fumes in question, if the oil is a litre overfilled, there's going to be quite a lot of oil spray that's going to be going out through that breather pipe with the fumes. So you're getting oil mist blowing into your airbox, which actually is quite normal, but it's never usually that much. But it is expected. It's designed in that the airbox actually has a drain hose, and here a drain plug, and every time you service your bike, when you put a new air filter in, it is also recommended that you drop off this drain plug and drain out any oil that's collected in the airbox. So it should have some, but when the engine's a litre overfilled, it could well have an awful lot more than it should. So let's get the old air filter out and see if my theory is right. Now the air filter on these bikes lives about there, just behind the fuel injection. That's pretty much the same for all bikes, and it accesses through this right hand side panel. So to get that off, first of all, we've got to get the seat off. All right, 5mm Allen key. I think a little screw out. Lift at the bottom, and you've got two of those plastic posts, one there and one there. Just lift them straight out as close as you can to the post. You don't snap them off. There. Number 2 Phillips, and JIS, of course. And here's the hose from the rocker cover that breathes all those engine vent fumes into the airbox. So let's just do the first little check. Let's just yank that off, see if it's oily inside. Nothing. That's a good sign. Let's unplug. And just lift off the cap, which is also the snorkel that it breathes through. Just lift it over. Just lay it on the top of your frame. Now, apart from a piece of gravel, which is to be expected, I found leaves, acorns, all sorts of things in air filters. That's what they're there for, and a couple of flies. Otherwise, so far, the filter's bone dry, which is nice. And the filter itself just lifts clean out, just like that. Now the filter itself don't look too bad. There's no residue on the outside of it, and this vent hose breathes in right next to it there, so it would have splattered on it if there had been any, and there's not even a residue inside the airbox. It's bone dry, which is nice. So let's take that drain hose off and see if there's any residue in the bottom of the airbox. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nice. Always remember to put that back in, because if there ever is any residue dripping out of it, it will go straight on your rear tyre. That is a important little safety feature. Now I'm really happy with that. Despite this engine being a litre overfilled with oil, there's no residue of oil spray coming out the rocker cover into the airbox whatsoever. Nothing draining out, not even a mist or a residue inside the box, nothing whatsoever. I'm really happy with that. Honda engineering maybe? Who knows? Anyway, the filter itself is still dirty and it still needs changing. And although it doesn't look that dirty, I'll show you a glaring test against the new one where you can see just how dirty they actually are. Now I don't know how many miles this air filter's done or in what conditions it's done it, but it's definitely dirtier. You can see straight away by looking at it, and it's not really how dirty it looks, it's how much the airflow has been blocked by the dirt particles that are captured in it. And obviously we can't test the airflow, I haven't got such equipment, but we can do a second best using light. We can pass a light through the filter and see how much light's getting through the dirty one versus the clean one, and that gives you a great idea of just how bad they actually are. Right, simple test. We've dimmed the lights down. I'm just going to take a standard LED work light. I'm going to pass it down inside each one in turn, and you can see the difference. This is the old one. And the new one. Back again, old one. And the new one. Now obviously not scientific, but you can see the clean new filter passes way more light through it than the dirty one, so obviously that's clearly blocked and will be passing less air than the brand new one. It's kind of common sense, kind of obvious, but just a great way to check and see in reality just how bad they are, even when they don't look too bad. Couldn't be easier to fit, just the reverse of removing the old one. Slide the closed end in gently through the airbox till it contacts and locates in the circle at the back, and it sits there on its own. There's a little lip inside the cap and it fits inside the filter. It just locates it like that, and the cap just snaps into place. 1, 2, and 3. And don't forget, put the plug back in. 2 push-in posts on the side panel. Locate them. Snap them in, and a single screw at the bottom. Nip. Pop your seat back on. Right, now 10 minutes of your life in real time, that's all that takes to change it, and £13 for that throwaway filter. And here's the thing, you can buy a washable filter. I've covered that in a lot of videos. They're a little bit more money, but you wash them and you use them service after service after service. So they're better for the environment because you're not putting these things in landfill, even though they cost a bit more money, and they're a little bit more time and effort. And I see a lot more filthy, neglected, washable filters that have never been washed than I do throwaways in a terrible state. It's easy to change a throwaway, it takes, as you see, 10 minutes. But washing and cleaning and drying a K&N type filter, that's a lot more effort. So make a decision what you want to do, whether you care enough about the environment, not chucking these in the waste, or whether you actually can spare the time to clean a washable one. But whatever you do, change your air filter at least once a year, because a clean air filter means more power and better economy, and who wouldn't want that? So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Take it easy, ride safe. I'll see you next time.